Well, hello, my crafty friends, and welcome back. And thank you for joining me. And hope we're going to have a good time together and do some crafty fun. Before I start, obviously, as usual, if you like what I do, please like and subscribe to my channel. That would be absolutely wonderful if you could do that. And also, if you could like and share on other platforms that you belong to, on other groups, on other platforms, like and share my page. Again, that would be absolutely awesome, and I really do appreciate what you do for me. Thank you very much. So what have I got for you today? Well, I've got a bit of a mixture. Let me show you. It's a Halloween card, and also it's a Christmas. So here's what I've been playing with. And so yes, so we've got like a Halloween card here, using the same stamp and in a circle, like aperture surrounded by twigs, twigs and sticks and that. So we've got that, and we've got a Christmas card for you. So again, done with the twigs and sticks, and these are all done by a company called Cardio, which I've got quite a few of their stamps now. They're all like polymer clear stamps. I've got another load over there, and yes, so that's basically what I've done. But what I've done with this one is I put it through the embossing machine and embossed it. So so yes, so okay, let's crack on and show you how I did those. First thing we're going to need is obviously some card. So I have prepared myself 2 sheets of card. I will give you some measurements, what I've cut them down to, if I can find my ruler, because I did have it. Here it is, buried. So let me give you some measurements, and this is measuring at 5 1/4, but obviously by 5 1/4, so that's for both of them. And the bigger one is 6 inches by 6 inches. If you want it in new money, it's 15 centimeters by 15 centimeters thereabouts. And the 5 1/4 is you could get away with 13.5 centimeters by 13.5 centimeters, make life easy, or you could go down to 13 centimeters, which is more closer to that actually. So if you make that 13 centimeters, you wouldn't be too far out. So cool. Okay, so that's the measurements for you, and I'm going to crack on with this one, and we're going to do the Christmas one for you first, which is this one. So so that's what we're gonna, and I'm going to show you how to do this with this aperture. I'm going to put that to one side, and I'm going to open up my craft mat, and I'm going to, and this is the stamp we use. It's a Cardio, obviously, and it's the Oriental Blossom, and it's quite a versatile stamp, really. It's just a nice little stamp. So and we need a little block, and I will show you the tricks of doing this. Now, okay, put that to one side, because we're going to need, you can eyeball this, and you know, if you want, you can just eyeball this and do, but I prefer, I have got a Spellbinders die, and again, to give you some measurements, that is measuring the actual, it's 4.5 inches across, which makes it in, say, 11.5 centimeters. So that is the measurements for the circle. And I just placed it and I just eyeballed it and just basically made sure I've got like a relatively equal gap on the sides, the top and the bottom. And if I'm happy with that, then just very lightly, and I mean very lightly, just go around with your pencil and just draw around the circle, and that is your template. And that, I mean, you probably can see that, but if I hold that up, there you can see the circle that I've just drawn around. So very lightly, that is the secret, just very lightly draw around the circle. And I have got a rubber there for later on. Okay, so we've mounted our stamp onto our block. Now let me just point out this stamp. It's got a slight curvature to it, so I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, that's better. So if you can see, it's got a slight curve to it. Now we're going to use that to our advantage and make it into a complete circle. And the way we do that is, first we ink it up, which is always helpful. So light tapping all over your stamp. And then we go, now you can, I'm going to start at the top, do the bottom and then the sides, and then fill in the rest of it. And I've already got ink all over my card already. What am I like? Just so what am I like? I'm such a messy crafter, it's unreal. Anyway, so this curve we want going in the same direction all the way around the card. This is the point. So I'm going to start at the top, and these two edges I'm going to try and line up as best I can with the outside of the line of the circle that I've taken the trouble to draw. So stamp it down, and I ought to really put some copy paper underneath like that, because it will go off the page a little bit. And then we can stamp it a few times for the second and third generation stamping. So ink it up again, and this time we're going to do the bottom. Now we had the stamp going that way with the curve going that way. This time we're turning it around and the curve is along the bottom. So as you can see, that's how we get our complete circle. So again, following the faint trace of the pencil line that you have drawn, down you go with your stamp, and we can do another one and third one, and then I'm going to twist the card around so we've got another top and bottom, and it just makes it easier. So again, light tapping on your stamp, and again make sure you have got it the right way round of where you're positioning the stamp and where you want it to go. So obviously I'm back going to the top, so I want that curve along the going that way. So, and then we can do another one and another one. Don't worry about the lighter ones, we will sort that out later. We're just getting the complete circle for the time being. Once we've got that, we'll be cooking. So again, light tapping onto your stamp. This time we're on the bottom, so again make sure your stamp is going the right direction and lining up as best you can with the pencil line. Down you go, and then we can do another faint one and another one like so. And so all I'm going to do now is where I've got the lighter bits in, I'm just going to first generation stamping over that. So and just make sure you have got your stamp going the right way as you go around the circle, completing the outer edge. Oh, I'm so messy. It's unreal. So I'm just going to do this bit here, join the branches up, and our last one, and again light tapping over your stamp, and then that is it. That is our circle complete. So with that one stamp, we have completed a whole circle around our frame. So we've made our own frame with a tiny little stamp. How cool is that? Okay, so we can put that away for the minute. And like most of you know me by now, we clean our stamp. So get a wet wipe, and I have got some, or did I put it back? Mind you, it's water based, so it shouldn't be that much, but it's always good just to do it. Oh yeah, I did have some over there. There we go. So just a tiny bit of that on there, the stamp cleaner, and then give that a quick wipe, and then we can just get our little rubber, clean that, and then we can put this away, put that away. We don't need that. Put that away. Look after that little stamp because it is tiny and you can lose it quite easily. So do put it back into its. So the next thing we're going to do is add some sky and add some texture into the. In fact, I'm going to go that way, put that at the top, and hopefully cover that a little bit, disguise that if I can. So okay, let's get some blue distress inks going. What have I got? I did get them out. Yes, here we go. And I did get that. So I'm going to start off with getting a stencil, and that is just going to give me some hills. So that's, you can tape this down if you want to, or you can just hold it with one hand while you ink up with the other. It's up to you. I just prefer holding it with my hand and then just inking it up as with the ink. Now I'm using tumbled glass. This is the first colour, my blue, and we want a moon. So let's get a moon mask. Put that on. This is a bit worn. I was going to try and stamp some more out. Now, if I'm clever enough, I could. Yeah, right, okay. Move that onto there a bit more square. Yeah. So, okay, tumbled glass. It's a fairly light colour, so just and it will take a while before the colour actually So yeah, it is a fairly pale colour, but you will gradually see it. That's moved. So if it moves, just put it back down or get a fresh one. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. No, it should be okay. Let's crack on. Yeah, that should be okay. Right, so that is the tumbled glass. Put that underneath there. So I'm going to go in now with broken china, which is like the next shade up from tumbled glass. So I'm going to put that in a little bit. Now this I am going to, because it is quite a darker colour. Let me just peel that back onto there. Move that. So this is why it might be better for you if you want to tape the mask down. And this time I'm just going around the edge of the branches with the darker colour, slightly darker colour. And then I'm just going to get a little bit of here we go. This is shaded lilac, and I'm just going to very lightly take some off, go along the bottom of the card, of the heels, so there's like a glimmer of colour on the horizon, as it were. And obviously I'm keeping it all within the stamped frame that we've created. There we go. So I'm going to leave it like that, and then I'm going to very carefully go in with a darker blue. So I'm going to put this one back, because I think we've done that. Put that back, and then I'm going to go in with I can't read it. Uncharted Mariner, that's the one. So again, I'm going to take, because this is dark, I'm just going to very carefully get my frame back, get my heels back, and very carefully just go around the edge, and I'm tilting the brush towards the edge, so I'm only using the edge of that edge of the foam pad, so I'm not using the whole thing, and I'm just gently there we go. And then I'm just going to go back in with our first colour, which is broken china, and just blend that all in together. and smooth it out as best I can. So so get my hill back again. Poor hill doesn't know whether it's coming or going. So we can just blend all this with the tumbled glass and just blend that all in together. Cool, there we go. Right, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to mess around with that anymore. So I'm going to put that to one side. Put that to one side and put our... And then we can do some stamping. Let's get our scene going. So we can put that to one side. Usually give this a clean just along the edge to get any surplus ink that might be on there, just to make sure that it's safe for us to go and use later in the next project. Put that to one side, and then we can get some stamping going. Right, so at this stage you can decide how you're going to do your scene. With the cardio stamps, there's quite a range of different stamps. If I bring some over, so you've got the traditional like Christmas scenes. That's the Halloween one. And you've got more like scenic trees. This would be a good one, especially with this lamppost. Let me just get it out. Now, another little trick I'm going to show you. If you're not sure of the size of the stamp, use the cellophane. Now that would fit. This one here would actually fit within my scene, and you would have a Narnia effect stamp. And you've also got the Victorian clock, so you could put, again, have a look, and that would fit in. So that's a nice little tip I can give you using these stamps. Right, so okay, so what did I do? I used, right, okay, I was showing you the stamps, wasn't I? So yeah, we've got that one with the clocks. We've got little children, like a Victorian lamp, couple there, children playing, little Christmas village, castle. So this is the one I used on this one. So I used the Christmas village at the top there. Yes, that was the one I used, the one at the top. So that's what I used. You've got more Christmas scenes, more snow scenes, more traditional Christmas scenes. So there is quite a few. So I'm going to go with what I did earlier, so you can see the way I did it, because I didn't use the whole of the stamp. Let me get it out, because I want to show you something. So concentrating on this top bit here. Now obviously these bits here are going to extend outside of our card and our frame, which we don't want, obviously. So what I did, I kind of manipulated it so that I'd have the trees and the house to one side. Now the way to do this is by careful manipulation of your stamp. Kind of. So let me get this stamp out. Let me put that over there. Let me put that sheet over there because we weren't going to need that. And let me get our stamping block, which is big enough for the stamp. Now, just take your time and think, because when you turn it over, it's obviously going to go that way, and I'm angling it so this hill ridge here hopefully will coincide with what I've done there. So okay, so we need to ink from there upwards, so from there all the way to the end. So just think about that, because you don't need to ink up the whole stamp, and if you're not sure, just do it again. And so it's basically from there to the end. So let me just explain that again. So we're just inking up this side of the stamp where we're going to have our scene, and we're going to angle it so it coincides with the hills that we've put in with our inking. So we don't need to bother with this side of the stamp. We've just concentrated and inked up along there. So when you turn it over, it is from there downwards. So do it a few times just to get it in your head exactly where you're going to ink up, because you don't want to spoil your image that you've gone to so much trouble to do. So I'm going to hover over and very gently, gradually place down my inked image and press it down firmly. And just let that ink make contact with the paper for a few seconds, and put that back on there. And then we have got a nice, crisp, clear image. And that is what we've got, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a nice image following the contour of our, and nothing protruding out of there. So, and we've got space down here to add something else. So let me just clean my little stamp. Because it's water based, we don't have to be too so let's just clean that off, and then I know it's good to go, and I can give that a quick clean, quick wipe. There we go. And we can put this back onto our carrier sheet because we're finished with this now. Put the sheet. Cool, so that's that done, and then we just look for, what did I do? That's what I used. Do I want anything else? No, I'm going to go with what I did before. I'm going to keep that one handy because that's what I used for that. So I'm going to use the little girl building a snowman. In fact, you could have, should we have a deer? deer. Let's have a deer. Again, if you put the black, you can see you've got room to put him. Right, I'm going to use the big stag. So I'm going to get my appropriate size block, put my stamp. I'm going to use, can I get away with that one? Yeah. It's smaller, be more manageable. So we can ink up our, and again, if you want to use your stamping platforms to do all this stamping, then obviously you can. Right, I'm just going to clean this because it's a new stamp, so there might be some residue left on there from right, I am going to get my stamping platform because I might have to stamp this a few times to get a decent image. So bear with. Right, here we go. And we are on clear, which is always a bonus. So let's get our image and we can get our stamp. Right. Right, I think that is fine. And then down it goes. Give that a quick do that again. That's better. So we can take that off, put that to one side, and give our stamp a jolly good clean. And take the stamp off, always a good idea. And we could put this to one side. And then we could put our stamps back together. So yeah, so basically also as well, that you can see on there, the lady building the snowman, she also will fit in that space below as well. So you can do several different images. Again, you've got a child on a bench with a teddy bear, so that can go in. You've got a father or person carrying a Christmas tree, so again that will fit in. So it's always a good idea, And again, you've got a child with a sleigh. Again, that will fit in. So it's always useful using these to check that your image you're going to stamp can fit in to those spaces. So it's another little tip for you. So that can go to one side. We finished with those. Done all that. Dun. And then all that's left to do really is adding some glitter. So I've got my copy paper and some glue. It's only like a little bit of PVA. I'll tell you what I am going to do. Just to make it a bit more realistic. Have I got a tiny little brush handy? Probably not. What you can do, get a bit of grey and just very lightly go under the hooves of the deer, and it just makes it a little bit more realistic that you've got a bit of a shadow coming down from the deer. So, but yeah, if you do that, that would be good. I just mind you, I might have a yeah, got a little water pen here. So if I go for the smoky lost shadow, you don't want anything too dark. This might be a bit too light. Just pick it up and then just see, that's all you need. Just got a slight hint of a shadow. So leave that to dry. Clean off your thing, your brush. Put that back. We can put that back. Put that in there. Put that back in there, and then that can go onto there. Cool. So, and then it's just a question of a little bit of glitter. So PVA glue just along the snow line, and maybe a bit around there. I'm not going to go too over the top with this because I just don't think it needs it. And then we've just got one last bit of stamping to do, which I forgot, which we will do. Right, so let's get some glamour dust. This is just basically glamour dust, and I've had it years, and it really does last an awful long time, and it's just basically a very fine glitter. So, but it's not chunky, it's just very subtle. Give that a gentle, and there we have our, more or less, just pour this back into pot so I don't go spilling it and covering myself. So that's that. So all we need to do now, the very last thing is, and I have got one in one of the collections. There we go. Up on the roof collection, there is a Santa in his sleigh, so we can retrieve that, get that out. and put that on a block. So do this before you do the gluing. I just forgot. But yeah. So again, light tapping onto the stamp. Make sure it's the right way up, and you're going. Now what I can do is going to stamp over that black mark so it's less obvious, and I can do that like that, and you would not know it was there. So there is our finished card. So just mat and layer it, and that will fit with an 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. So that will be what did we say this was? So it is 5 1/4. So if you cut a 5 1/2 inch square piece of backing card, that will give you an 1/8 of an inch all the way around to mat and layer onto, and that will fit comfortably onto a 6x6 card blank. So I hope you enjoyed that one. So I'm going to put that to one side to dry. I'm going to put these stamps back in their envelopes, and then we're going to do the Halloween version. So we have got, put this one back, give that a clean, and then give that a little bit of a tidy up. Put them back. Right, so the Halloween one. So let's get another piece of card. And again, the same principle again. So we're going to get our ring. I'm just going to eyeball this around the outside. So draw very. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to do. I can't do it now because of the glue. But you can just rub this out afterwards when it's just very lightly. There we go. Put that to one side, and then we get our stamp. So here he is. So we get our stamp again, and exactly the same as we did before, no different. And I'll block. And just to remind you, light tapping, and then we will just line this up and get some copy paper and do the same again, following the outline of the circle roughly as best you can, and then we ink up our stamp once again. And again, bearing in mind, we want the curvature of the stamp to follow. So we used it that way. So we're turning it around the other way. So the circle radius, the shape, follows the shape of our circle that we have drawn. And then we would just do another one further up, another one down there, and then we'd switch it around and then ink up our stamp, and then following again the circle, and then once more down on the bottom. Again, making sure you're following the circle and you're changing your stamp. And put that, and you can angle it a little bit differently if you so desire, like that. And then we just fill in with the first generation stamping around the outside, so we complete our wreath or frame, border, whatever you would like to call it, that we have created. There we go. And again, we've got exactly the same as what we did before. This time we're making it into a Halloween card. So we need some greens and some browns, oranges. Let's put this away before I lose it. There we go. Cool. Sorry, I've just knocked you. Right, so clean the stamp, put the glue up to one side. I'll give that a quick spritz. We give that a clean. And again, like I said before, because this is such a small stamp, I'm going to put it back on its carrier sheet and back into its packet so I don't lose it. And then all we do now is just some oranges and some greens. Now, starting with some greens. I'm going to do the greens first. So I used, what did I use? Shabby Shutters first. So there might still. So I'm going to do the top, well, the bottom first, but I'm doing it this way around because I just find it easier. So over you go with your green. Take off the excess first. And this is a good stage if you feel, take out the pencil line, because we're not going to need that again, obviously. And that will just disappear from view as you rub it out. So there we go. That's that. So we can just carry on adding our ink, taking off the excess, to our wreath. And I'm doing this carefully so I don't go outside of the wreath. So I'm keeping the colour well within that circle of stones, twigs that we have so carefully created. So I think that's about right. So I'm quite happy with that. So I can put that to one side, and then I'm going to go up to and use I will tell you in a minute what colour. Peeled paint is the next one, and again this is going to be slightly darker, so on the side of caution, go careful, take off the excess and just go around the outside this time, because we're not going to go into the middle. We want to keep that as light as possible, so just around the outside. And I think that'll just about do us. And then final colour, I'm going to use forest moss. So, and this is dark, so again, just go very careful. I'm just going to ink up the very edge of my foam palette and just go very lightly around the edge. I'm just tilting it very lightly onto the edge. Just like that. So we can put that to one side, and let's do a little bit on the top. So we're going to go with some of the oranges. So wild honey? No. Scattered straw. Let's try a little bit of that. And this time I'm going all the way over the but keeping well within the branches of the circle that we've created, so keeping within the frame, which is obviously what we want. And I'm just going to that's fine, that's quite good, pleased with that. Scattered straw. So let's go for a little bit of mustard seed, which is a darker colour. So again, because it's a darker colour, be very careful. And then I'm going to go in with very gently carved pumpkin right on the edge. So I might have, let's just give it a whirl. Yeah. As you can see, I didn't ink my it at all, but I still had enough colour on there to do what I wanted. So so it just shows you don't have to keep inking it all the time. And I'm just going to go back in with is that shabby shutters? So I'll put that back under. So that's basically all there is. I'm not going to go too mad with that now because I'm quite happy with that. So we can put these back. Some of these are really old, need replacing. And put those back. We finished with those now. All we need to do is a bit of stamping. So here we go. So we get our witch, and then I think I will use the stamping platform again. So get our background that we've so carefully just done, and then we can get our image and we can place her on there like that. And then we can lift up our image and get, I think I'm going to go with this time yes, I'm going to go for the onyx black because I want her to be nice and crisp and clear and dark. So as you can see, by doing those frames, even though we've done it twice, by mixing up the colours in the middle for our background, we get two completely different looks. So I'm just going to bring this over down onto like that. And if we want her to be darker, which I do, I'm just going to repeat that process and clean off so yeah, so I'm going to clean stamp the image again. Bring it back over, down we go. Leave it at that, and that is our second. Cool. So that's our second one. So cool. Let's clean our stamp. I'm probably going to need this one this time because I used the and then one more. How cool is that? So we can give this a clean. No, that's clean, and we can put her back onto her carrier sheet. And again, if you've got any pumpkin dies or what have you, then again, you can use them. Well, she goes near the top of the house. The hat. Leave that to done there. Right, okay, so that's that done. So we've already have created, by using that same technique, 2 different looks. Third way you can do it, and it's not stamping, using your stencils, and I've already done this, is this one. So what I've done is, I'm going to do this slightly differently because I'm going to use a slightly different stencil. Same procedure. So what I've done is I've laid the stencil onto my card and I've just run it through my embossing machine. Now obviously use the instructions for your embossing machine that you use. I used the Crafter's Companion Gemini, and as you can see on the back you've got the embossing, and I've already done this. So as you can see on the back, it's already embossed. So all I'm going to do now is just go over the embossed area with yeah, I'm going to use that's dry. Let's so I'm just going so this is a dry a dried wet wipe that's been dried out. So I'm just using that for the minute just to get the ink into the embossed areas without it trying to move. I did tape it down, so it's been, so I'm obviously rubbing too hard, so just make sure you get it right down into all the embossed areas. You want this to be as deep and dark as you possibly can get it. So yeah, just keep going around until you've got all covered. And then once you're happy with it, you can let that go, put the lid back on and peel all this off, and we should have so peel off the, I did hold it down with sticky tape. Magicked. So that can go to one side. Peel that off. I'll put that to one side because I will clean that later. Cool, and that's what we are left with. So again, I'm going to just go in with some blues this time. So I'm going to start off with and we're going to make this a bit more of a scene this time. So yeah. So keeping the blue within the arch, and decide roughly how far you want to come down with the sky, and then and just fill it in with the blue. Right, that's enough of that one. So I'm going to put that one. And let's go for Stormy Sky, as it's Halloween. Let's lift dangerously, see what I've got on there. Well, I've got a bit. So well, that's warm. Just disintegrating. Right. So cool, that's cool, like that. And then I just might go in with a tiny bit of the faded jeans, but going just around the outside. See what have I got left on there. Cool, I think I'm quite okay with that. Got enough of there. I'll just go in with the first colour, which is the broken china, and just bring this all together and just smooth out anything that's obvious, which I don't think there is. And just do that. And then and go in with the greens, so we can put these back. And let's do some greens on the bottom. And we have got, let's go for, let's live dangerously. So again, I'm just going in with the shabby shutters. Just getting some green down onto the bottom of the card. I don't think I need that. And then I'm just going to go in with a slightly darker colour. I'm going to go, that was peeled paint, so I'm going to go in with forest moss again. And just around the outside. Yeah, look at that. Right, I'm going to leave it like that, and then I'm going to just stamp our witch again. I'm going to get the stamping platform back up, and then we're going to add some more detail. Put that there, that there. We get our witch again, and we're just going to put her right across the middle. She's bang in the centre. And we're just going to bring that down. We're going to ink her up with the VersaFine again. Whatever I've done with it, there we go. So ink her up again because we want a nice crisp image of her. So that would do. Quite happy with that. Put that to one side, clean the stamp, and then what we're going to do is just add a little bit of detail into our image. So we can put her back to one side. Right, you notice I've got this, which but if you have got yeah, if you've got these, let's get my yeah, so what we're going to do is just add a little bit more detail in, more than what we did on the others. So I'm going to get my, and what I did was some hills at the bottom, like mounds, but not very much. I don't want to go over the top with this, so I'm just going to get so you might have just enough on there to put some hills in, some mounds of and I want one just going up there. And we can do the same for the other side. Bring it down maybe a touch. And then I'm going to switch this over, and then we are going to with hickory smoke, get rid of that. Just going to grab yourself another pad. Because I use it so much, they're just worn. So with a little bit of hickory smoke, very gently, we're going to put some mountains in. Just a little bit more. Okay. and just a little bit on this side. So there we go, we've got a few mountains going on. So what we need to do now, finally, last thing, is put a home in. Now on the set, you have got a tiny little house, which is this one, and I'm going to put that just like so, but very in the background, so it doesn't dominate. Get it the right way around. So so again, light tapping, and then a bit of scrap paper, and then we can press that down. So we've got her house in the background. So there we have, by using stencils, few inks, we have got three, two, one. So we have got using two different stencils, and then those two. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for staying with me and bearing it out, and I'll see you next time. Again, please like and subscribe, and if you like what you see, please like and share, and we'll see you next time. Thank you very much for joining me. See you again soon. Bye.